yet again, to all my strikers out there, man, look. This season, this YouTube series is coming out great. Yes, as you can see, the one doing random hand movements. What in the world are you doing?
I don't know.
Okay, so this is Nevaeh. She's my girl. We've been dating almost about a year. Almost. Still gotta get there.
Mm-hmm.
And she's gonna be with me as we watch these scary movies. Alright. Oof. You ready? And due to us having only one headset, I'm gonna listen to them, but she's gonna watch them. So if her face is a little confused but scared, just know that's why. Alright, let's do it. Gotta hold her hand, man. I don't know what's gonna be happening. Why are you laughing? Don't laugh.
Because this guy's expression.
There's a road that I always drive through for work day after day. Although it was a quiet place, I didn't pay much attention to it, as it has always a few cars on the road. However, something started to
This is
bother
good
me
quality.
at some point.
Once he really did it this time.
There was a man standing on the same side of the road almost every day. With no
No, bro.
expression. Late at night
No.
or early
Just
daybreak.
no.
It hasn't been long since I
What in
noticed
the
he was always in the same
No.
place in all weather. So one
That
day,
guy got
I talked to my
flat forehead,
colleague
but you
about the
always
man,
wanna talk about my
and he
forehead.
suddenly
Bro,
said,
what is wrong?
he seemed like a very famous man around that place. But you know what?
I want a whole.
No matter where you see him, you will always see his face from the front.
I want a
No
whole
one has
entire
literally
new.
seen his back
I want
or
a
even his
whole
side.
entire new
Moreover,
haircut. Like that
there
guy
are
from Office.
strangely many
No.
accidents on that road. So everyone says that's a curse from that dude. For now, everyone just passes him on the road and ignores him. I suddenly became curious about him. That day on my way back home from work, I was driving on the road where the man stood. And the man was standing there as usual and looking straight at me.
Bro, why are you still
As I was
there?
passing the side of him, I turned my head to see him sideways.
Curiosity.
But he was already staring at me straight in his face. Now I passed the man and looked into the side mirror to see his back. But still,
Bro, he
was
needs to keep
looking
his
at me
eyes on the
straight.
road.
It made me feel creepy enough. After I arrived at home, another curiosity sprang up. So he kept staring at me, but I couldn't really see him moving. He definitely moved when I just took my eyes off for a moment. Then what happens if I keep staring at the man without taking my eyes off of him?
He looks
The
so-
next day,
he
I
look
headed
like
to the
an
same
innocent
place.
little kid, bro.
It was time to put the way I thought yesterday
look
into
like I
practice. And he surely stood in the same places, staring straight at me. I began to keep my eyes on him from the moment I first saw him and watched him until the
Bro,
moment I
keep your
passed by.
eyes
And of
in the,
course,
on the road.
when
Keep
I
your
didn't
eyes
take
on
my
the
eyes
road.
off him,
No.
he didn't look back at me either.
That guy is like.
The side of the mystery man began to be
Bro, his
seen little by
forehead's
little,
flat.
and I noticed that it was
canvas.
no different from the other ordinary
is he
person.
flatter than mine?
But I felt
No.
excited like a child who had just discovered
But
the
what in the
hidden
world?
treasure.
No.
Besides, it would be perfect if I see his backside last.
There's something wrong.
I had already
Bro,
turned my
he is
head
high.
180
Forget
degrees
something
and looked
wrong with
back
him. This dude been
dangerously
smoking the
before I
wrong
knew it.
stuff.
I couldn't see the back well, so I was trying to turn back, putting my hands off the steering
What
wheel.
is you doing? Get back
Now
in the,
the back
get
of
in
him
your
was finally
seat.
seen by my eyes.
Kids, always wear your seatbelt, bro.
Being
Like,
satisfied, I
no,
was
no, no,
about
no,
to
no.
exclaim.
Oh.
And at that
Yo,
moment,
watch out!
bang! Then I suddenly lost my mind. When I woke up again, I was lying in the hospital. And fortunately, I was not seriously hurt, though. What a stupid. Why did I do that? Was I possessed by something? While
was your
thinking
butt
about
get?
those
You
things,
should've
a man
sat
in a
down.
police uniform knocked on the
Okay,
door
but
of the
why is
room and
police
came
officer
inside.
kinda look like the same guy
Hi,
from the road?
I came here to hear
That
what
is
happened
true.
to you
He do some-
yesterday.
No.
So I
Jawline.
frankly
Don't trust
confessed
him.
that I had
Jawline's
acted
different, though.
rashly to see the
That
back
don't
of the
matter.
man standing
Don't
on the
trust
road
him.
and
Wait,
admitted that
You
the
would think the
accident
dude
had
would get
happened.
plastic
I
surgery.
told him that I don't know why I
ain't never
suddenly
said.
thought so.
That could be his cousins.
Just then, the cop who was listening to me without
Sometimes
saying
sibling
anything
jawlines
said
are
to me,
different.
And that one sentence that he had told me still remained in my head long after the incident. Since that day, I've been avoiding the road wherever I go to work or come back home. Shoot, that dude didn't take you this time.
Bro.
See, and he said some.
Bro. Like, for real. Look, kids, you gotta know this, but don't ever do that. Okay? Don't ever look back. When you driving, you stay front. And don't do drugs. Weed is one of them.
But what?
Dang. That sucks. Like what you think? Like that sucks. Oof. She can't even say anything.
Well, I mean-
Oh, you actually said so. My bad. No?
Well, I
You
mean,
gonna say? You talking about it.
that one wasn't really scary, but at the same time, it was interesting though.
Well, anyway, the next one is my stalker. I don't know why you want a stalker, but I guess that's what
Hey.
you're into. All right.
A few years back, I was a shift manager for a local big box pharmacy and convenience store. It was right across my backyard, and I could probably sprint there in under a minute if I really wanted to, so it really worked out for me. I was in my late 30s. I worked out quite a lot, and while I was fit, I was still a smaller girl. Even though I was married, I would constantly get hit on and asked out. It was pretty flattering, but it always made me feel really awkward. Now, this particular store I worked at was in a really weird part of town. It was on the right side of town to attract the Karens, but close enough to the not-so-good side of town to attract the drug addicts, drunks, and psychopaths. Anyway, let me say that I'm not someone that gets scared easily. I've had someone high on meth crash their car into the side of the store, causing the back of our store to bend inward because we didn't carry pineapple juice. I had a man pick me up and throw me over his shoulder and start walking out the door with me, saying that I'd make a good wife. Yeah, that's one for another time. Anyways, it all started on a Sunday morning. I remember this because I was really busy building end caps and making sell signs. I was working with my favorite coworker, so the day was flying by and I was really bubbly this day. There was a man and his son that came into the store and they made a beeline for me. The man was probably just a little under 6 foot, and he was skinny. The man had dreadlocks and a long skinny silver earring dangling from his ear. He also had this really tan trench coat that I found really odd because it was summer. Nonetheless though, I had then greeted them and asked if they needed some help. The man spoke with a really thick Jamaican accent, and he said that his GPS stopped working, and he wanted to see if we had any. I let out a really small laugh, thinking he was messing with me. No, that would be at Best Buy or something, but we do have a small section of electronics on this wall over here. I indicated the wall to the back of me. Oh, thanks, he said, taking a look, but also keeping his eyes on me. Something about those eyes just really chilled me. He was speaking another language to his son, but I kept going on about my task for the day, and he would call me to help him, asking me questions about chargers and SD cards. I answered them, and then he started telling me how beautiful I was. Really awkwardly, I had thanked him. You must work out, yeah? He asked. Yeah, yoga mostly. I replied while getting more and more uncomfortable now. He made some more comments about my body, telling me how he loved my tattoos, and he was just really being a creep. I tried to stay polite though, and eventually I just walked away to do some more work. I started to avoid him, but he was still staring at me. The man had his phone out, and I kept hearing the shuddering of a camera. I went to the office to tell my other coworker that I thought the guy was taking my picture, and I was just really feeling uncomfortable. He then came out and watched over me. Shortly after my coworker came out, the man and his son then left. By the time the end of my shift came, I forgot about him. A few weeks later, I was up front ringing customers with a different coworker. We were crazy busy that day, but I was the manager on duty. After we got the line down, my coworker then handed me an envelope. What's this? I asked her. I don't know. Some man in dreadlocks told me to give it to you, she said. Over the course of a few nights. Before we get there, I need to provide a little bit of backstory. My husband and I had just moved to New York City, like right in the heart of the city. The apartment was breathtaking.
Wait, what?
I kept thinking
Why
that
she
it was
so
a loft
pale, though?
apartment here
It's
in
not
the
even
city.
that. I thought that the person was like a whole dude. Why they got a dude narrating a girl's story? Well, woman.
It's called secrecy.
My favorite part was the
Bruh.
view. At night, you could see all
Something
the
not
lights of the
right.
city out of the windows. It didn't take long for my husband to make some friends at work. He's a very social person, and being in sales for a decade makes it easy for him to strike up a conversation with anyone. Almost a year into living in the city, we had our weekend crew that we would hang out with routinely. We would have dinner, play games, or just have some drinks with Becky and Jim, as well as another couple, Jason and Liz. But my husband's best friend from the city was a man named Eric. Eric did not have a significant other, but never came alone. He always had a friend that he would bring. He would always joke with me and my husband. Don't worry, guys. You never have to worry about me being the third wheel. This turned into a reoccurring joke, and Eric was almost referred to as this third wheel. One night after one of our little get-togethers, my husband and I were getting ready for bed. We talked for a while, but I'm pretty sure I fell asleep mid-sentence. I woke up at some point in the middle of the night. I didn't look at the time, but it was still dark, so before 5 a.m. if I had to guess. I heard a noise, and I know that it's what woke me up. I just laid in bed, feeling a bit uneasy, and looked up in the dark room. I thought I could see a figure of some kind in the corner of the room. The more I tried to focus, the more and harder it was to see. I felt as if though I could almost hear something like breathing or wheezing. After a few minutes, I felt much better and chalked it up to some kind of vivid nightmare and rolled over back to bed. I was too scared in the moment to look and didn't want to wake my husband up for something that was probably just a giant overreaction. The next night came and same story. We went to bed at around 11. I didn't tell my husband about the events of the night before. Again, I was awoken in the middle of the night. This time I looked at the time and it was shortly after 4 a.m. I could for sure hear breathing this time. I looked around the room from the bed, but this time I couldn't see any figures like I did the night before. I could just hear the breathing and it felt so close. I tried waking up my husband, but he was out cold. I didn't try awfully hard because he had to wake up in about an hour for work. I didn't sleep well the rest of the night, and I woke up with him in the morning and did not want to stay in the bedroom alone when he left. I moved to the living room and slept on the couch for a couple of hours. The day was miserable. I couldn't shake the weird feeling for the entire day. Around 2 in the afternoon, I took a shower. When I turned the shower off and was drying my hair in the bathroom, I heard something from outside the bathroom door. I froze in paranoia in the bathroom and listened with my ear to the door, but heard nothing. Finally, I worked up the courage to leave the bathroom and felt a minor moment of relief when I was in fact still alone in the apartment. Shortly after 5, my husband came home from work and I told him about the events of the last 2 nights. At first he laughed as if though I were telling him a joke. Once he realized how freaked out I was, he then began to try and rationalize what I could have been seeing and hearing. I have to say, I was insulted because he even suggested that maybe I had too much to drink, but that was not the case whatsoever.
Bro, like,
No. Just
what's wrong? What's wrong? What do you do? All right, well, look, I'm sorry, guys, but that's all for today. You'll have part 2. We'll do another one later on. We'll continue. Part 2 will be coming out next week, Wednesday. Dang, bro. Look, I want y'all to be careful out there. Alright, cause that's crazy. That's just crazy. Yeah. Anyway, if you got any scary stories or any links to scary stories, please send them to my Snapchat, Amani Caldwell 17. You know, I'll catch y'all later, dude.
Welcome to the dark side, Black Rose.